Hello, hello, Internet world. Today is the last day of February of 2023. That means it's the 28th. Today is also the 18th day of the Love On campaign. And today's topic is going to be why everybody needs to be involved with their legislators and their senators and just involved when it comes to parental alienation and how we can prevent it. So I know people who are doing it in Texas, Maryland, there's a few more other states. There's also Brazil who made parental alienation illegal back in 2010. Mexico, they don't joke about it. So what I'm trying to do is get locals in my neck of the woods, which is Salem, the state capital in Oregon. I need help, I need a team. There's somebody who is going to the legislators and they're changing the laws to make it so that the parents can't legally kidnap their own kid and keep the kid away from the other parent. And I don't know what I'm doing. I'm only one person, and the person that I keep talking to and who's been doing this has been doing this for 21 months, and she has a team of people. And I expect to be told no, and I expect that it's not going to be overnight, and I got to be patient. But I'm also just one person, and there's so much that can be done. I am hoping for locals, and it doesn't even have to be locals. I do want locals. That would be awesome in my neck of the woods. But you can even do it online too. That's the good thing. So what I'm trying to get at is the memory that strikes me the most is I jumped through so many hoops because I would do anything to get my son. So after I volunteered for a residential treatment center that I begged to get in because they didn't want to take me, I lived in the Oxford House for a year. And Oxford House is a recovery-based home for you and your children. And I did that specifically and not live with my husband and the father of my 3 other children because I would do anything and did everything I could to get my son back. So I thought living in Oxford House for a year would prove so much. So I had the court paperwork that I was allowed to have visits with Credence every other weekend. I was basically, sorry guys, I'm not trying to be mean, but it's basically what the divorcee dad gets every other weekend, so many holidays, you have to fight over which ones. I didn't even get what I was supposed to get. I was supposed to get like 2 weeks out of the summer. Anywho, back to the Oxford House. This was in Beaverton, Hillsboro. It was off of Hillsdale. It was the Hillsdale House. I don't even remember why, to be honest right now. I can't remember why, but there was more than one event that my so-called parents would deny me visitation with my son. So what would I do? I would call the cops. What would the cops do? Absolutely fucking nothing. They said it was a civil matter, take it to court, yada yada yada. So in that time, in the right, when I was able to have my son for a visit, the cops wouldn't do anything. And that's not just me. That's the story for a lot of folks. And that's not the way it is. And it's custodial interference is a crime. And if it's not in your area, then it needs to be, which is what I'm trying to get on board with. We can make modifications to already existing laws, and we can make a new law to make it where others like me who are alienated from their kid or kids, it doesn't have to be that way. There's no reason to. I understand there's always the, well, what if they're abusive, this and that. I've never shown any sign or form of abuse. I've never had a dirty UA. I did get a record after my kid was taken from me, not before, and that was only 2 things that I've already expunged. I'm squeaky clean. The point is, there was no reason to keep my son away from me. Not even just normal little visits, not even just normal part of being part of his life. They completely cut me out. I had to make sure that my son would call his grandparents, my parents, every night when he was with me and tell them good night. I mean, I didn't get that same privilege. I don't think hardly anybody got that same privilege in their court paperwork. My parents went so far and did so many ridiculous things to keep me and my husband away and make me look so bad that they almost convinced me of the things that they were accusing me of. I almost mentally went down. And they're never going to have me again. That's why I'm so gung-ho and so much about never being silent again, because I was silenced for so long my whole life, and they always told me what to do and what to say and how to think. I never was told, or I never got to be my own person, and I was always punished for being my own person. And then when I had my son, my firstborn, this is horrible to say, but I did not think that anybody in my family was going to love him because of the way they were/are. And then when he was born, to my surprise, they all fell in love with him and just kicked me to the curb, basically. All the same people that are in my son's life are all the same people that brought me up, the people I grew up with, everybody I know. So again, correlating back to what this is, had there been a law or somebody out there speaking up about this at the time when I was going through it, maybe it would be different and better. So I can't be quiet. Nobody else should go through this type of turmoil and torment and pain. This is just not, it's like, well, you don't really know unless you live through it, but it shouldn't happen to you for you to care. But for those who are alienated, we are, the best way to explain, sorry for speaking for others, but I most say like to, they'll resonate with that we are grieving a child that's not dead, basically. So again, please, if you're in Oregon, in Salem, please hit me up. The lady that is helping me in Texas, she has it going on in Texas. She's in person, but she's also doing online stuff in California. Because, you know, we're not always in the same state as our children. It needs to be unity. We all need to unite. Brazil, Mexico, the States, everything. And that's the flaw in everything too, the loopholes. All the states have their own different things. We all need to be on the same page. I miss you, Credence. The things that they said in the court paperwork is horrible. There's a story I'm going to share. In the court paperwork, it says that I was sleeping or unconscious while my son was outside playing in the parking lot. So, this was Aloha Park Apartments, Aloha, Oregon, in between Hillsborough and Beaverton, 185th on the max. So, it was a low income. It is low income. I waited a year so I can get a 2-bedroom apartment. I just moved in. I had Credence's pajamas. We were being lazy that day. It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We're watching SpongeBob. We just had lunch. We're being lazy, like I said. And then I fell asleep on the couch. And the next thing I know, my landlord is inside my apartment yelling at me that my son's outside playing on the playground. Now, the playground's in my backyard, but in the court paperwork, they wrote that he was in his pajamas playing in the parking lot. But the parking lot and the playground was all right there. And so he wasn't in the parking lot. And by the time I woke up, he was in the playground. But the point is, I don't know how he got out. I locked everything. And then I found out that the screen sliding door, when I locked it, wasn't really locked. So that wasn't my fault, you know. I did everything I was supposed to make sure my son wouldn't get out. There was a flaw in locking the door, which, of course, not only did I yell at the landlord and tell her to fix it, I made sure to have a stick and do whatever I had to do to make sure my son couldn't get out. Because, you know, you learn, practice, and, you know, error and trial. So, trial and error. So, anywho, my son was fine. He was not there very long. He wasn't in the parking lot. He was in the playground. And it wasn't like I was on drugs unconscious. I took a nap in my new home, and he was able to escape. And I was sleeping. But in the court paperwork, they wrote all this stuff that would just put me, you know. And I used to think that court paperwork and police reports were never, like what I would read would be exactly what it is. That's not the way it is. And I learned the hard way too many times. And I used to have a complex when if Credence comes to me, what I'm going to say to him for all the things that they told him, like me locking him in the closet or in his room. I only have to explain myself to Credence. when he's willing to come talk to me. And I am not perfect, and I did fuck up, and I did do things that I shouldn't have, but I didn't do anything that was deserving to have him taken from me. It wasn't like they're like, hey, we think you're fucking up, we're gonna take your kid, get your shit together. They literally took my kid, said they were gonna go for a week-long vacation in Montana, and then they never brought him back. And they moved from my childhood house from Hillsboro, Oregon, to where they live now in Salem, Oregon. They just up and left and kept him away from me for 22 months and convinced me and everybody else that I abandoned my son. We are going to end this because I think that's enough for tonight. Credence, just know no matter what, I can never be mad at you. It's not your fault. It's not your fault you're being used as a weapon. And I love you, and I hope that even if you don't come to me while I'm alive, that after I'm gone, that you'll see these videos and you'll know and at least somehow absorb or feel how much I love you and how much I missed you and how much we all missed out on everything. I love you, son.